Awesome. You guys can grab a seat. Thanks for being here. We are really glad that you are here with us tonight. Those of you who I may not know, my name is Josh Arrington, and I have a few different roles I play here at the church. One of those roles that I play is being the next generation pastor. So I oversee high school, middle school, and college at both campuses, and lead our student pastors at each campus. And so tonight, what we want to do every year, so spread the word, is rather than doing a lot of different meetings throughout the year, we want to do one meeting for you. One meeting that covers everything you didn't know for the entire year. And so that's our goal, is to cover everything and to answer any questions you have and to get through everything for you tonight. So is that as weird to y'all as it is to me? That I'm the only person up here and there's still keyboards or something behind me. Okay, that's a little freaky. How many of you were here this morning for the grand opening of the new building? Wasn't that awesome? As I've said to so many people today who've had questions, give us 2 or 3 weeks and we'll get all the kinks worked out. And the same thing is true of moving back into this building. Everything you see here has been built and done in the last 48, 72 hours. And so our guys have worked really hard to get this building turned around and looking different than it looked a week ago when you guys were in here. Let me just share a little bit with you real quickly about our vision for student ministry. Our church mission statement is that we exist to lead common people into uncommon life in Jesus. And our student ministry statement is very similar to that. It is that we exist to lead common students into, and then we add a phrase, into lifelong uncommon life in Jesus. And the reason we add the phrase lifelong is because studies have shown us a lot in recent years that 60 to 90% of teenage kids raised in the American church will leave faith within 2 years of graduating high school. So we have a lot of kids who grow up in the church who are abandoning faith and never returning. And so our mission is to change that. Our mission is that your child would grow up in the church and become a passionate pursuer of Jesus Christ, who for years to come is a passionate pursuer of Jesus Christ, who has grandkids for you, who they raise in the church, who become passionate pursuers of Jesus Christ. And so to do that, there are some things that are different about the way we do things. There are some different things that we do event-wise. We do events and we do activities, but we do them with a different level of intentionality. And there are some different things that we do in the way that we do events to try and help students become lifelong followers of Christ. And another one of the things that we do different is we see our role as not just existing for students, but our role is existing for parents as well. And so we want to be a resource for you. We want to be a place that you come when there's issues within the family. We want to be a place that you come when you have questions about parenting. And we may not have the answers, but if we don't have the answers, we will devote our attention full time to finding the answers for you. Because we want to equip you and raise you up to be the best parents that you can be. And the reason we want to do this is because we know that you are the number one influence in the spiritual development life of your child. In fact, if you break it all down into percentages, your influence is 58%. 58% of the determination of your child's spiritual development is you, the parent. Do you know what it is for student pastors? 12%. And a lot of times there's this idea, well, we'll just take our kids and the student pastors, they'll take care of all the discipleship and they'll take care of all that. And the truth is that doesn't work. And so you're going to hear some things tonight and see some things over the coming year that we're going to be different, where we're trying to engage not just the student, but the entire family in their faith development process. And we do that at both campuses. And so as Trey and Ryan are coming up here to join me, one of the things that we talk about a lot at both campuses, having 2 campuses that have different demographics, by the way, they are different demographics, is that our principles and our philosophies of how we do ministry, the who of who we are, is going to be the same whether you're at West Campus or you're at Medical Campus. The what and the how are going to differ. So the philosophies and the principles are the same, but the practices may differ some from campus to campus. And so I'm just going to let these guys share with you briefly how some of that's going to play out at their individual campuses. If you don't know them, sitting to my left is Tremaine Baltimore, our student pastor of Medical Center campus. Which, can I brag on you for a minute? Please don't brag on you for a minute. I'm going to brag on you for a minute. This morning was really exciting because the whole church kicked off in the new building. Well, it was really, really exciting for our students to have their building back. And we saw it numerically. We, by far, had more students this morning in student worship and in the student portion of the morning by almost double the highest numbers we've had in the last 16 months. So, and it's a lot because of this guy's work that he's put in. So, want to acknowledge him. Ryan, I'll think of something nice to say about you too.
No, I don't care.
This is Ryan Brown, and he's our...
Hold on. I'm really glad to have Tremaine here. He's been awesome, and I'm so thankful that this was the first Sunday in a long time that I just went, Students in Medical Center is great. They got Tremaine. So it's been awesome having him here. We're really thankful for him.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Ryan Brown, he's our student pastor at West Campus, and Ryan, even though he's at West Campus, helped do a lot of this audio and stuff that you see set up here. Maybe I shouldn't tell him that because the audio still needs to be fixed. But
You don't have to insult me and be nice to
I was
him.
trying to be
You could just
complimentary.
not compliment me. That's okay.
Ryan is awesome. We're glad he's on the team, and he does. But a lot of the technological stuff, new lighting, we had to move lighting bars and all that stuff. So he's helped a lot to get Medical Campus up and running for this week too. But
Yes.
I want you guys to talk just for 3 or 4 minutes about what's happening Wednesdays and Sundays,
Yes.
primarily. Sunday mornings at both campuses, the philosophy and principle you're going to hear is that it's discipleship focused. It's very much about how do we disciple students. And Wednesday nights are going to be more at both campuses. How do we build community and live in the community with one another? And how do we enjoy the gospel? How do we enjoy the opportunity to hear the message of the saving grace of Jesus over and over so that it's an environment that your students can invite their friends to? We want it to be a very fun environment, a very intrusive environment for them to bring their friends to and have friends come to know the gospel of Jesus Christ. So turn it over to you.
So, can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Yeah, okay, my bad. So Sunday mornings, like Josh said, is our discipleship time. And we want to specifically just focus on how we go deeper in our relationship with Jesus during that time. And so we had a model here that we set up with our Bible teachers, and we have a Bible teacher per hour, and they go through a curriculum. And this year's curriculum is we're doing our Love Your Neighbor at School for about 5 weeks. Then we'll hop on to the Black Letters of Jesus, which we're just talking about the actions of Jesus and going deeper with that. And so it's a perfect time for the students to, I encourage them this morning to bring something to write with, bring some questions, hard questions they have for those teachers to dig into and wrestle with them. Not wrestle with them, but wrestle with them. And so, instead of messed it up, whatever. So it's a, we ain't wrestling with kids here. Not on Sundays.
Wednesdays.
On
wrestling.
Wednesdays, we do that, actually. Sorry.
It's like the worst comment I hear from guys who work with students not long and haven't learned you can't say this is like, bring us your kids. We want to get no eyes. We just want to touch your kids. And
Yep.
you're like, no, you can't
Nope.
say that. That's
Yep.
totally
We're not
inappropriate.
doing-
So we don't wrestle with your kids. So just know
wrestle
that.
with,
Wrestle.
whatever. Okay, so that.
You were talking about Sunday morning. Sunday morning. Going deep. You good?
Yeah, going
So
deep
we're
with
going
discipleship.
deep with
Recover from that one.
discipleship. It's a perfect time for us just to dig in the Word with students, and we have those Bible teachers from middle school teachers up to just working people, and a lot of just different type of volunteers who are just pouring into the students on Sundays, and so it's a perfect time. And on Wednesdays, which is more of we would like to be more community-based, community-focused. And so we do a lot of things together, whether that's, icebreaker games, or actual games that we doing a lot together. But a lot of that time we're together. We try to eat meals together every now and then, and just have a lot of things we do together, and just build type of relationships with our students, like with them. We want them to build relationships with each other, and so that's what Wednesdays focus on. And so we got a lot of cool things planned for on Wednesday nights, and so like Josh said, it's a perfect opportunity for them to bring their friends, and just dig more deeper into the Word with the way we do things there. So, yes, sir.
Wednesday nights.
Yeah. That's Ryan. Hey. Hey.
It's been a pleasure working here. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, we love you, dude.
I
Give
don't
them
have
an
controls.
example of what a Wednesday night game might be.
Yeah, so a Wednesday night game, simply, we might do something like cover our face with shaving cream and throw cheese puffs at them and see who can get the most cheese puffs on their head.
For
Little
Jesus.
Things, what's that?
For
For
Jesus.
Jesus, yes.
And when you say we might cover our faces,
When I mean we, I mean students and volunteers who decide to say, yeah, I do that. They may cover their faces.
Okay.
I'm monitored to make sure everything is good.
yeah, safety first.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm
I
making
just
sure,
wanted to make sure that
making
we
sure
were
all
clear
the
on
students
that.
are good. But yeah, just wacky games. But it's not just for the sake of just games, but we just want to simply, hey, how do we make Jesus fun? All right, how do we make him, so exciting? Because he already is. But the students, like, how do we more engage them and go on their level? And so we do fun things like that just so we can have this camp feel and this fun vibe feel. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Ryan, talk about West.
So everything you're going to hear, it's very similar, exactly what we're doing here. We just use different words and do it a little bit differently, but it's the same thing. My heart and goal, especially for Sunday mornings, is what I've seen a lot in our kids and our student ministry and just generation and age they're at. They got a lot of head knowledge, and they can probably quote scriptures and stories to me. But when it comes to applying it to their life and engaging with it in their heart, that's where we find most of our middle schoolers and high schoolers really struggling, is going, hey, I know this stuff, but connecting it from here to actually going to school tomorrow is a little bit of a disconnect. So our goal on Sunday mornings is to get them to understand and how to engage with the Bible, and that the Bible is not something that was written just thousands of years ago and not for them today, but it's alive and active, and it still applies, and taking scriptures like you can't serve two masters and understanding that means when we go to school on Monday morning, we can't pretend to serve God and then act like we don't, and really trying to just break down the simplicity of the Bible, that this is for you, this is for where you're at right now. We want to do that in fun, engaging ways. If we can put stickers on their heads and call them Donald Trump or whatever and make them understand that, hey, sometimes we appear differently to other. I'll explain the game later. Don't worry about it.
Boy.
It works. But if we're gonna play games, we're gonna talk about identity. We're gonna have a great time. But the goal really is on Sunday mornings to get them to understand that the Word of God is powerful and alive, and something they don't just need to memorize, but actually to live out. So that's our Sunday morning discipleship. Like Trey said, we're going to be doing at school for the next 5 weeks, and then we get to really look at the life of Jesus and what he said and what he did, and talk about how it's not just about knowing, but it's about doing and living this life out. And then Wednesday nights, we're just going to have a lot of fun. One of my favorite things in the world is that we've got students from been in church their whole life to, hey, I just got kicked out of school and I don't know what to do, and I saw a church and I want to come hang out, and they feel comfortable there. And they want to be there, and they're having fun there. And they may not be where they need to be with Jesus yet, but they're getting to hear how much Jesus loves them over and over again. And that's the environment we want every Wednesday night, is just you're loved and you're accepted here. We're going to have a great time. We're going to do Olympic games and play bottle flip and give away medals and have an awesome time, but we're always going to point them back to Jesus, and we're always going to tie it back in. So it's just creative ways to do that, to have a lot of fun. And let them know that God loves them and that we love them too, and that we want to be a safe place for them to feel loved and accepted, and that the reasoning behind it all is Jesus. So that's our Sundays and Wednesdays.
Awesome. And pop quiz for some of the interns who are here that interned this summer. We adopted this summer sort of this formula for what we're going to do that we called R squared E. And the two R's are relevant and engaging. That we want to be relevant, relational, and engaging. So everything that we're looking to do, we want it to be relevant, to hit them at the age that they are and the place that they are. and where they're living life. And it's different, parents, than where you lived life. I don't know if you figured that out yet. Back when I started doing student ministry a few years ago.
How many?
Hello.
Hey. I was having a serious moment here.
Oh, sorry.
Back when I started doing student ministry 5 years ago, no, more than that. When I started doing student ministry, I would get the question, I still get asked all the time, what's the number one issue facing students today? And back in the day, the answer was 3 things: drugs, alcohol, sex. Those are the 3 things, right? If we can take care of drugs, alcohol, and sex and keep your kids away from drugs, alcohol, and sex, then we're doing a really good job. Back at that point, youth culture changed. It was well over a year. It was like 18 months, 24 months that youth culture changed. And the average school identified having 3 different subcultures. Today, when I get asked that question, my answer is the number one issue facing students today is the number one issue facing students today is the number of issues facing students today. Because there's so many more things that they face. And now youth culture changes on average every 6 to 8 months, and there are between 25 and 45 identifiable subcultures at every school. And it's just a different world that they live in than what we grew up in. And so we want to be relevant to where they are. We want to be relational, so some of this stuff is just about tearing down walls and being relational, and we want to be engaging. And one of the things you're going to see from these 2 guys too this year is a lot more of taking ministry off campus, getting it out of you coming to us to do ministry, but them going out and doing ministry and being involved with FCA and Youth for Christ and other organizations and getting on campus. So hopefully your students are going to see a lot more of them at their schools and out in other places than has been the situation in the past. If you have your booklets that you picked up when you came in, I want to go over a couple things there. We're going to get the boring stuff out of the way first, and then we'll talk about all the fun different stuff that's coming up. And inside that booklet, you have a form that says medical release. If you take that out, now if you have more than one child and you didn't get more than one booklet, there are extra forms over here on the table, back to my right, back to your left, that you can grab a form to fill out. Here's the great information. If you'll fill out that medical release form, it is good for an entire year. You don't have to fill out another medical release information form for every event that we do. We put those on file. We use them all year. The only exception is if we're working with a camp or a location that requires their own information, their own medical release stuff, which happens on occasion. But for all of our summer events that we're in charge of and for Rooted and for all these other things, this will cover you. On the back there, you're going to see the basic release of liability. You're going to see the one that says you give us permission to take your child to the hospital if something bad happens to them. Please be sure and sign all those. But I want to draw your attention to the one at the bottom of the page there that is a release for photo and video. And basically, that just gives us permission to take pictures and shoot video of your child to be used in social media, to be used on our website, to be put up. Your child will say maybe they don't want their picture taken, but the truth is they do. For the first time ever, when you came in tonight, you saw pictures up on the walls out here of students, and it's amazing. I was only in here a little bit this morning and this evening, but to watch students walk in and walk around looking at the pictures, trying to find themselves in the pictures. So we ask that you sign that unless there's a really, really, really good reason not to. We understand that sometimes there is a custodial issue or something like that that can cause you not. I know of a situation where somebody took pictures and posted them on the internet from one of their events, and they posted someone who had signed the sheet for them not to post pictures, and it turns out the family was in the Witness Protection Program. So if you're in the Witness Protection Program, please feel free to sign that. Don't write that down because we're not supposed to know that, but there are justifiable reasons for signing that. For signing and telling us not to do that. But if possible, let us know. We want to include them in taking pictures of them. The other form you have in there is the Student Code of Conduct, which you'll need one of those for each child as well. And I'm not going to read through everything on here, but I do want to highlight just a few of the rules that are on here. Now, the rules that are on here are all on here because somebody has done something to create these. First 2 rules just talk about your leaders knowing where you are and leaders being in charge. The third rule says absolutely no one is allowed out of his or her lodging area after the night's curfew, and the curfew is in effect until 15 minutes before the first scheduled morning activity. The reason for that is caught some guys out one time about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and confronted them and told them, it's after curfew, to which they informed me they had been in their room at curfew, but they were out now. There was no rule saying how long they had to stay in their room at curfew. And so now we have you have to be in there until 15 minutes before the next activity. Rule number 5 is referred to as the Michael Brock rule. The good news is Michael Brock is now married and has children. He survived all this, but it says do not throw, drop, or hang anything from balconies or any upper level floors or windows, and do not climb, lean, or hang from balconies or any upper floor windows. 2 different things happened with Michael Brock. One time caught him jumping out of a second-story window into the snow on a ski trip. The other one happened, we were in Gulf Shores, Alabama, staying in condos for a camp, and he was on the 4th floor, and I was on the 3rd floor. My room was under his. He called down and said, hey, could you have some peanut butter? We're out of peanut butter. And I said, sure. He goes, okay, I'm going to come down and get it. So we were trying to get ready to leave for evening worship, so I went and grabbed the peanut butter, and I was going to meet him at the door with it. And I opened my door to give him the peanut butter as soon as he gets there, and I see his legs come over the balcony from the 4th floor as he lowers himself down to the 3rd floor balcony. We don't encourage that. It's not wise. So there is a rule against that now. Rule number 9 we get questions on sometime for girls is as a church we do have a one-piece swimsuit rule. And so it's just good to know that. Guys, same thing applies for you. Please don't wear a 2-piece because that would be really awkward for everyone. Number 12, keep your lodging area clean, no raids or rough play. You're financially responsible if things get broken on buses or things of that nature, so just know that that's in there as well. Number 15 is called the purple rule. Guys may not go into girls' lodging. Girls may not go into guys' lodging at any time unless there's an adult leader present. We call the girls pink. We call the guys blue. You put them together, you have purple. We say we don't want any purple. Purple is an evil color. It's almost like burnt orange. Anyhow, moving on.
How was that UCLA game?
Hey.
Good one.
What's next?
I have amnesia. I don't remember. Wow, you don't even root for them. You're just taking jabs to take jabs.
Yep.
Rule 16, no one can leave the established premises, period. Basically, everywhere we go when we do something, we set boundaries. And we say, as long, students, as you live within these boundaries, then you have total freedom. You have freedom to come and go and move around. If we start having issues with people going outside those boundaries, then everyone loses and everything gets constrained in. So we set boundaries. So even when we're in Costa Rica, we set boundaries and say, you have freedom within these boundaries, but please don't leave those boundaries. Number 17 is the catch-all rule. Following items are not allowed: alcoholic beverages, tobacco products, drugs. Just pause there. We have to follow, just so you know, whatever the legal requirements are for us based on the state that we're in, and whether that requires that we turn that child in. We are a church all about grace, but I don't ask my guys to lose their job because they break the law. Just the bottom line. If you bring drugs or alcohol, it will be dealt with in accordance with the law. We have to do that, and then we're going to be gracious and loving all the way through the process with you. No fireworks, cell phones, there's another one. It's changed a lot in the last 10 years. It's changed a lot in the last 5 years. We had to go out and purchase, well, actually he purchased it for himself, an iPad for my 6th grader this year because he has to have it for school. And so phones and these kind of things, you just almost have to have now. So we understand it's part of their life. And then we get all the question all the time, well, I want to take pictures on the trip. Well, where's their camera? It's on their phone. So that's on this list. But this year we're going to be really reevaluating that and looking at a case-by-case, trip-by-trip situation to let you know are phones allowed on that particular trip or not. One of the trips you're going to hear about tonight, we're going 11 hours on a bus. I would not expect that students are going to go 11 hours without having their music and everything on the bus. So we'll be evaluating that some, even though it's on here. No radios, iPods, televisions, portable video games, balloons, balloon launchers, rubber bands, push pins, knives, ruler toy, airsoft guns, ruler toy. Yes, I've had that happen. Discovered what the back of Intercontinental Airport at Houston looked like because a kid had 2 airsoft guns in his carry-on luggage and tried to go through security with them. Doesn't work very well. no pornographic materials or inappropriate t-shirts. And while in the retreat, you may not participate in any of the following: temporary or permanent tattooing, haircuts, and or body piercing, ear body piercing. And you can add there hair dyeing. You're not allowed to do any things on our trips. I know it's fun in the moment, but then you come home and you find out that they have a wedding the next night, and now they've got a blonde M&M beach cut, buzz cut, and it does not go over well with mom and dad. So we just say, hey, we're going to try and return your kid to you in a slightly more sunburned version of what they were when you dropped them off with us. We understand they're your most precious thing in the world, and we want to take care of them. We really do take safety very seriously. In everything that we do, we evaluate everything with safety. We want to have fun, but never at the cost of safety. That also includes how much sleep we try to get when we're away on events. That we work really hard to make sure they get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, and we try to make that happen for them as well. Number 19, no destructive pranks at any time. Anyone who commits a destructive prank will be held responsible for it. And one of the ways we hold them responsible is we make them endure anything that they've done to the other person based on the situation. So if they think it's funny to fill a sleeping bag with shaving cream on the first night of a 5-week camp, then we take that sleeping bag and we let them sleep in the shaving cream for the entire time that they're there, and their clean sleeping bag goes to the person they did it to. Pranks are fun. Pranks happen on trips. We are not against pranks, but just we don't have to be destructive. We don't have to make people feel bullied or put out or in any way in a negative way. If we cross that line with pranks, then we're not honoring each other, and we're not honoring God. And number 20, any student who sets off a fire alarm as a prank will be turned over to the local police department. That's just the law. And upon release, we will send them home. We don't play around with that one. On the back, you'll see our standards of discipline, which just go through. These escalate per event. You get time out, then you lose a privilege, then we have you go around and clean up trash with a garbage bag, all the different things that happen. We work really hard not to send students home. But in the right circumstances or the wrong circumstances, sometimes we do have that happen. At the top, student needs to sign this, and then the parent needs to sign it as well, just saying that you acknowledge all of this, and this is good for a year as well. Goes in your file, and it will be on file for a year. We'll cover your code of conduct for anything that happens there. So that's code of conduct and medical release. That's the boring stuff. Let's move on to something more fun. In your booklet, if you open it, we're going to walk through it sort of popcorn style. In the back of your booklet, it has a section called Notes, and encourage you to write down questions if you have questions as we come through here. We want to answer your questions. Odds are if you have the question, other people have the question as well. One of the first things in there says stay informed. How many of you get the Tuesday email? Is anybody not getting the Tuesday email? Good. Everybody here is doing great. If you're not getting the Tuesday email and you want to get the Tuesday email, you can sign up on your red card and drop it in the little canister over here. I'm trying to think of a word.
Jar.
Wait, jar would have worked. Drop it over here, and we'll put you on the email list. Email goes out every Tuesday at 4 o'clock, has all the information that you need to know about what's happening in the life of the student ministry. And also, you see our social media stuff there if you want to follow us on social media. On the next page, you see the times for Medical and West. And then you see at the bottom it says Family Worship Sunday. So the number one indicator from a church standpoint of your child maintaining faith past high school, ironically, is not how great your children's ministry is or how great your student ministry is. The number one indicator of your child maintaining faith past high school is that they have opportunities to worship with you. Number one indicator. By far outdistances everything else, that they're involved in intergenerational worship. And so as a church, we've decided we're going to do these family worship days, and we're looking even ahead next year at 2018 at adding even more of these. Opportunities for you to worship together as a family unit, to be involved there together. And we want to make sure that's happening. Now, there's another way for that to happen other than family worship days. I know it's an old concept, but it still works, and you're more than welcome to adopt it. It is okay for you to come to church and volunteer 1 hour and worship the other hour. It is okay for your mind blown, I know. It is okay for your student to come to student ministry 1 hour and go to worship with you the other hour and have intergenerational worship every week. We encourage, yes, we get a hand clap. One person claps in the back. We encourage you to do that.
I'm going to try that.
You're going to try that?
Try it.
Yeah, it's a great notion. It's a great idea. But we do have these family worships. The two that are still left this year, one of them just, they coincide with other days in December. One of them is December 24th. Obviously on Christmas, we want you to worship with your family, and that's Christmas Eve services. Christmas Eve services at this campus will be regular service hours. Will be happening here. At West Campus, it will be regular service hours plus one service in the afternoon. And then December 31st will also be a family worship day. We will let you know the other family worship days here in the next few months as the preaching team has a chance to sit down and look ahead through 2018. We'll be letting you know some other dates that are out there for family worship. Ryan, talk to us about Fall Retreat.
Yeah, the first big event you're going to see in there is our Fall Retreat, and that is happening this November 17th through 19th. Here's what Fall Retreat is. This is an opportunity for students who are looking to go deeper in their faith, a little bit more mature student who maybe wants to take on some leadership and grow in that area. I'm super excited about this. It's going to be very relational based. It's going to be heavy on the discipleship. And this really is the first time we brought back Fall Retreat in a very long time. And the goal of this is really for those kids who are going, I like Sunday mornings, I even like Wednesday nights, but I'm looking for something a little bit more. I want to grow a little bit deeper in my faith. I want to get a little bit more serious. I like the games and stuff, but I want a time of really going deep and diving deep in the Bible and worship in small groups. So this is for them. We have a limited number on this. We can hold about 65 to 70 students. So I just want to be really clear and out front of what this weekend's going to look like. It's going to be a lot of small group time. It's going to be a lot of individual quiet time where we're going to challenge them to really spend time with God and their word. It's going to be worship and going deep in the messages. We will have fun because we always have fun, but I don't want anyone to get the misconception that this is like, hey, we're going to go party with our friends and jump in lakes and all that. There will be... I know.
Define fun.
Define fun. Josh has volunteered to lead a polar bear plunge, and it's going to be awesome.
And by leading, I mean our entire staff team will be out there in front of everyone leading a polar bear plunge. Now, if you don't know what a polar bear plunge is, we are going to Knott Creek Falls for this, which is where we did Camp 526 this year. Incredible camp out in Harper, Texas, just past Kerrville. It means that we'll go to the river, and we'll be in our swimsuits, and it's November, and we will jump in the river. And that is the collective we, not the we that Trey used earlier. This is the collective we will jump in the river. Not just us, everybody, and we'll have a chance to just play around for a little bit, and then we'll go get warmed up as quickly as possible. Now, we did do it the first weekend of Thanksgiving break. Tell them a little bit of wine.
So we did do it first weekend of Thanksgiving break because I'm going to be sick November 16th, so I can't jump in the river on the 17th. But we did it specifically on that weekend for this reason. We understand that when we take your kids away for a weekend, and you're going to see this other times and stuff we scheduled, we bring them back to like they just sleep for like 20 hours and they're unproductive. So we do our very best to schedule stuff where they don't have to go back to school that Monday. So we did this at the beginning of Thanksgiving week so that you go, hey, my kid goes away Friday to Sunday, I believe it is, comes back, and they may be tired, but hey, I got Monday through Friday that they're not at school. We were assuming you guys probably aren't leaving on vacation to go anywhere till a little bit later in the week, so our hope is that we've set you guys up for them to have a couple days to recover. They're still great for Thanksgiving with family and things like that. But again, I just want to be really upfront because I don't want kids showing up and being super disappointed and going, hey, this wasn't any fun, I didn't enjoy this. Our goal here is to go deeper and to grow in our faith in Jesus. And it's going to be an awesome time, and we will have a great time. But we're going to be really clear on the outset of, hey, we want to help you grow in your faith and mature. We want to help you grow together as a community of students. So it is one of the few camps where we're going to have to cap the number just because of their space. But we want to make sure that every kid who goes knows why they're going and they're excited about going. We'll get to it later, but this is probably one of my most favorite events of the year because I can't wait to just get to sit down with kids and really dive deep about their relationship with God and pour into them and turn them into a little bit more of leaders.
And the good news is this event opens for registration tomorrow. You'll notice on all of our most of our paid events, there's stair-step registration, there's early bird, regular pricing, and late pricing. One of the things we want to be clear on from the very beginning, two things actually. One is that we don't want money to be a reason that you don't participate. We do offer scholarships. We have limited scholarship funds, but if you are in need of a scholarship, please don't just decide, I don't have the money, my kid's not going. Please talk to us, fill out a scholarship form, and let's see if we can help you. The other thing is we don't expect your child to go on every single event that we do during the year. So we offer some things for free and some things for charge. We don't expect you to go on everything. We want you to help disciple your child. Figure out what it is that they need to go on and send them on those particular events. Or you can ask us, and we'll tell you, this is where we see your child at. I mean, with this fall retreat being for going deeper, we're going to be looking for some students to step into student leadership. So we're going to be actively going after some students and saying, hey, I think you need to go on this. I think you need to go on this because I see leadership in you. And I see the opportunity for you to go deeper. So we will help you with that as well. But not only are we going to offer things that are paid events, we also offer some free events. On the next page, the first free event we have coming up is happening the very next weekend, the end of Thanksgiving. And we did this for the first time last year. It's called Turkey Bowl. And basically, we gather in mass, most likely at Brandeis, but at one of the local high schools, for an afternoon of food and flag football. And food is free. It's just a time to come and hang out. Last year we had 4 different games going at one time, ranging in levels of competitiveness from not very competitive to...
Josh stiff-arming children.
Josh has been doing a lot of praying about this.
Good.
And I am determined this year to be less competitive.
That's good. Less.
Determined to be less competitive. In the name of Jesus. We will have multiple fields again this year, so you can find a field that fits your level and come and play. I'm just so not in a good place right now. I just confessed in front of a lot of people. I'm going to get in trouble. Last year we had 117 students show up for this, so it is a big event. We get a lot of people out. It's a great time to run around. You can say, I don't like football, or we had plenty of people that didn't play at all. We'll have other things going for them. We'll have
Giant
cornhole and
Jenga.
some other things, giant Jenga. We'll have plenty of activities, but it's a time just to enjoy Thanksgiving holiday and celebrate and be together on November 26th, 4 to 7 p.m.
Awesome. And
Trey.
next event.
By the way, isn't this the most awesome picture in the
Dude,
world?
I tried to go without them. Maybe.
Is it on the screen?
No, I think she lost that slide. Oh.
Is it on the screen?
Me and Trey haven't talked since that
Yeah,
picture.
that
we just needed some space.
That
It was really
day,
uncomfortable.
We took multiple shots.
It was a lot.
Yeah, that whole day.
Over multiple days, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
That day was.
I was busy.
Yeah. So yeah, it was me and Ryan, we decided not to. We said, hey, we should just go to see our wives for the next couple days.
Yeah. Yep.
After, because we got real close. Probably too much information. So December 15th, from 6 to 9 p.m., we're doing a not so silent night. Guess the words "elftastic" is still in there. I just want to make, because I know that's a big thing, and we debated for like an hour on do we drop this title or not. But yes, it's still Elftastic Christmas Party. It's just a not so silent night. Elftastic Christmas Party. And so it's going to be exciting. It's another free event that we're doing here. And the biggest thing that we wanted to encourage is that, hey, students, to bring your friends. And so we'll do activities like, we got a dance going on. We'll call it Jingle Bell Rock. Jingle Bell Rock. Yeah,
I'm going to break my moves out.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Both of them.
Those one of those events you might want to decide you don't want to come to,
If you want to see Josh
Or
dance.
if you want to see Josh dance, yeah, that's probably one of the events you say, yeah, I definitely want to see that. Trust me, it's a sight. And so, I love you. And so we'll be doing a lot of cool things. We'll, of course, be watching the movie Elf. We'll have Waffle Bar, like I said, the dance, and we'll do some prize giveaways and just have an awesome time. And we'll have a time where we just read the Christmas story, somebody will read the Christmas story, probably dress in a Santa outfit. No, that's stupid. Probably dress. You dressing like Santa, right? Or
I don't
Yeah,
know what
Josh is
you mean
gonna be
by
Santa.
you.
he's just
No,
Santa.
I-
Yeah.
no.
Well, there's not much.
I
to
love how
dress.
we're just assigning things
Yeah.
to each other up here
This
in
is how
front
we
of a
do.
cloud of
This-
witnesses.
Welcome to our meetings, by the way. So, and so that's what we do. But like I said, it's gonna be a fun night, and we're just gonna share the Christmas story, just share the birth of Jesus. And,
Will the
and
movie
rejoice.
Elf be shown?
Yes, the movie Elf will be showing, and yes, there still will be spaghetti and
Syrup.
what's it, syrup? See,
Yep.
that's new to me. Spaghetti and syrup. All
It's
right,
gonna
'cause
rock your world.
Apparently, that's a thing that people like.
It's
and-
really not a thing.
Well, you sure?
How many of y'all have had
I'm
spaghetti and
pretty
syrup?
sure. See,
Anybody?
look, that's a lot of hands.
How many of you would have it again?
Yeah, yeah,
It tastes like that picture felt.
yeah. It tastes like well,
It's-
that ain't
that's
good.
that's what that picture is we
That
ate
ain't
spaghetti
good.
and syrup, and that's
That
what
ain't
we
good.
got.
And so, but yes, it'll be a fun night. We'll have fun.
It'll be a great night.
That
It'll be
is
a
my
great night.
favorite picture. Hey, we still have some pictures to frame and put out.
We're not doing. Don't
No.
do that. We won't.
Amelia, this picture needs to be framed and put out at both campuses.
We want people to come.
Josh does have a matching sweater
does.
that he will have to wear all December. That's just the rule.
The whole month.
The whole month. The next thing we've got going on is our Rooted Weekend. If you've been at Grace Point any time at all, you know that we do a Rooted Weekend every year in the spring. And here's what a Rooted Weekend is in general, and then I'll speak specifically to this one. Rooted Weekend is a retreat. It's just here in town. We have you people, parents, volunteers, host students in your home for the weekend. We come up to the church in the evenings for some services. We'll play some games and have some fun time. But the goal is to just come close together. It's a great weekend where great friendships form. Kids get to meet other kids they don't. It is one of the cheapest retreats we're able to do because you guys help us out so much. If you want to volunteer, please see Amelia. It takes an army to make this happen, but every year it's one of our favorite weekends because all it is it's just a giant sleepover with 120 kids that we oversee and arrange. It's an awesome time. I've never had a kid regret going to a Rooted Weekend. I know so many kids who some of their closest friends came from meeting them at a Rooted Weekend. So we love that weekend that we get to do every year and to go deep with them and to disciple them that weekend. This year, our theme is koinonia, which is the Greek word for fellowship. And all we're going to be looking at this weekend is this idea of unity and community. You're going to hear it a lot starting in January from the main stage, this idea of coming together. And it's what we want for our students, and it's what we want for our student ministry. So we're really excited to get to spend a whole weekend just talking to them about loving those all around them, about what it looks like to be in community, what it looks like to grow close together. We've got Brad Colley. Did I say that right? Brad Colley?
Yes.
And the Park Worship Collective coming. We're really excited about them. Just really high level worship and speaker. So we're really excited for that. And we'd love for students to be a part of it, especially those students. It's a great event for a kid who goes, I don't know anybody. I don't feel connected. I don't really know if I have friends. You're going to spend 48 to 72 hours riding in cars together and sleeping in houses together and in small groups together. And it's always a great bonding experience for students. So we're really excited about our Koinonia Rooted Weekend.
It's a great bonding experience for adults, too. So if
It
you're
really
willing
is.
to have your house used, to have a bunch of 6th grade girls or 8th grade boys, if you have your choice, take the 6th grade girls.
Always.
In that choice.
Well.
If you're willing to be a host home or help with transportation or help provide meals, at the table back here to my right, to your left, is the place to sign up if you're willing to volunteer for that as well. The next thing in your booklet is Road Trip South, which has changed. We've been doing a mission trip every year to Harlingen for the last several years during spring break. And last year we sort of switched the name from Harlingen Mission Trip, which just was not really fun sounding, to Road Trip South. And we had this trip all planned. Everything was ready to go for going back to Harlingen. And then the events of the last few weeks hit. And Harvey slammed into the coast and slammed into the Houston area. My family, my wife and I are from Houston. We still have friends who've not made it back to their homes yet. I know the news has moved on to the next hurricane coming in, but there are still people in Houston who are not back at their home. I was talking to people just today that along the coast there are still a lot of homes that are out of electricity, that even as they're getting back to their homes, there's nothing they can do. And so this will take years to rebuild. Several years ago, after Katrina hit New Orleans, I had the opportunity to take a group of students to go and serve down there in the 9th Ward and to go in and to help clean. And it was one of the most powerful experiences I've ever had with a group of students, to see the level of destruction and the level of loss. And so we have made the decision that we are going to take road trip south somewhere. We don't know where yet. It may be to Houston, it may be to Beaumont, it may be to Rockport. We are working with churches in all those areas right now as a church congregation. But we are going to be going in and helping to do hurricane relief work and hurricane cleanup for that trip. The price is already set. We will make the trip fit within that price. And so if you want to go ahead and register for that, you can see the pricing is there. It will be different. It may mean that we're sleeping on the floor of a church, but we're going to go and serve our community. And I'll just tell you as parents too, if you've been wondering, thinking, man, I really want to go help with Harvey Relief, but I can't figure out the time to do it because I have kids, feel free to say, hey, this is my opportunity. We're going to open this up beyond students to sort of being a family type trip, that we encourage you to come and be a part of going to serve those communities as well, to be the hands and feet of Jesus, and then also to share with them the message of Jesus. You can turn to the next page there, and you'll see another thing that's new this year, which is our golf tournament and gala dinner. Now, this right now is just sort of a hold the date kind of thing, which is April 20th and 21st. There'll be more details coming on this. But this year, we were able to get a year ahead. By the way, how many of y'all like the fact that we're in September and we're telling you everything you need to know for the next year? Is that helpful? Well, that happens because we had an amazing team of interns and junior team. A couple of them are here. Callan was one of our interns. Julie was one of our interns. Christian was on junior team. Connor, did Connor have to slip out? Connor slipped out. He was on junior team. We had others as well. First year we've done that, but to make that team happen, those resources have to come from somewhere. And so this fundraiser helps us to be able to have those teams in the summer, as well as helps with what we talked about earlier, that scholarship issue. And so we're going to be doing something different. Now, the way that it'll work is this. Golf tournament's pretty self-explanatory. We'll play golf. If you're interested in playing golf or doing a whole sponsorship, please let me know, and we'll get you definitely on board with that. But the dinner, the night before, the gala dinner, yes, there'll probably be an element that's a silent auction and all that. But really what we try to do is we try to do a really nice dinner for you and your spouse or your significant other or just you, however you fall into the equation. But we want to do a really nice dinner and a show. So there'll be some form of entertainment as well, a Christian comedian or someone who will be coming in. And we try and give you the night for what it would cost you to go out and have a really nice night out on the town. Except instead of all the proceeds going to, like when we go out for a nice night to Golden Corral or something like that.
Pray for Josh's wife, Golden Corral, date nights.
Sorry, Stacey.
Instead of it going to that place, it'll go to the church. No, I do not. My wife does not eat at Golden Corral. She refuses. Or we would probably go there. But instead of going to one of those places, it goes to the church. So just put on your date now, the 20th and 21st, and spread the word. We'll have a great time of laughter and fellowship. I promise you'll enjoy the evening. And then it will go to a really good cause. We will still be doing the parade that we've done in past years, which if you want to buy tickets to the parade, we sell tickets to the parade. We also can use help in setting up chairs for the parade, the days of parade as well. So that is there as well. What else? Oh, I keep going. I still have one church. One church is something we're doing throughout the year. It's where our two campuses come together for a time of worship, and we do big prize giveaways. It's an opportunity to bring your friends. We have one student who's won 2 out of the 4 grand prizes. And the reason he's won is because he brings friends. And when you bring friends, you get extra tickets in the drawing. So the way that you increase your opportunities to win things like Beats over-the-ear headphones and things of that nature is to bring friends, bring people with you to this event. You can see the dates there. Yes, my son. No, I'm good with that. The dates you see there are the dates that we will be doing One Church. Ryan, talk to us about parent seminars.
Yes. So like Josh at the beginning, our job is not just to love on your kids, but it's to partner with parents to help them in any way we can. And one way we do that is parent seminars. We only have one so far on the calendar. There are many more coming. We're just trying to make sure we hit the right topics. So if you've got ideas and suggestions about what you'd like seminars on, whether it's dating and relationships or maybe it's depression, anxiety, we would love to hear that. We want to help walk alongside you guys through that and help encourage you on just how to point your kids to Jesus in these crazy, tough years. So we want to help partner with you guys. One that we know we're going to do every year, and it's one of our favorites, is our college, Prepping for College seminar. I know this is my first year where I have been here. This will be year 5 for me. So the kids who are seniors this year were 8th graders when I came in. I'm not even their parents, and I'm terrified that they're about to be on their own. Like, God bless you people. And they've grown so much, and it's awesome. But we know how crazy that transition is. And you've heard the statistics of how many kids fall away from faith heading into college. So we want to do everything we can to partner with you guys and your student. This isn't a parent seminar where you just come and hear stuff. This is when we bring your student along, and we talk to both you guys and encourage you of what it looks like walking into that next stage of life. How to get plugged into a church, how to just live on your own, what it means to iron and do your own laundry, just basic stuff sometimes. But our goal with these is to help
Wives, you can bring your husbands for that part if you want to.
Totally can. But our goal is really just to partner with parents to help encourage them in that season of life. And again, we have more of these that are going to be planned and coming. We just want to make sure that we hit the felt need of our parents. So we would love feedback from you guys of what some of those things you'd want to hear are. But this is just part of our strategy and goal to, again, continue to partner with you guys and encourage you guys. And then the next page you'll see there, we're already into summer, the way we're headed here. We've got something called Thursday Thrive that we did for the first time this summer. It was a huge success, one of the best things we've done in a really long time. And all we do is every Thursday in the summer, we go hang out and we do something. Whether that's going to float the river, whether that's going to the trampoline park, whether that's just hanging out here and throwing water balloons at each other, or tie-dyeing shirts. We're just planning every single week of the summer on Thursdays. We're going to have an event for your student to come to, a way for you to get them out of the house and stop playing video games or stop Snapchatting for 24 straight hours and say, go interact with people. And we had a great time doing it this year, so we're really excited about doing it next year. And the other thing on that is our senior brunch. This is a special thing we do every single year. It's one of my favorite events. It's one of the few times I'll probably cry every year, and more as these kids that were younger when I got here somehow now considered adults. But it's just a day for us to honor our seniors, to celebrate the accomplishment they've had, that you haven't killed them in the first 18 years of your life, even though you probably should have a couple times, and that they're graduating school and how excited we are for that next chapter in life. So we want that date on your calendar ahead of time because we know how crazy that end of school year gets going. But it really is. It's just a time for family and friends and the student to come and get honored. We'll do a slideshow. We'll give them a little gift. We'll pray over them. We've got a lot of special moments that happen there. So we're really excited about our senior brunch. And to continue kind of that summer, I'm going to turn it over to Trey to tell us about camps.
Any 5th graders here? Any parents of 5th graders here?
You mean 6th graders? They're now 6th graders.
No, 5th grade.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
This applies to current
Oh,
5th
got
grade.
it.
5th grade. So yes, once again, this past summer, I guess it was like a couple months ago, we took just our 5th going into 6th grade to camp, the same camp that we're going to for fall retreat, Knott Creek Falls. And we had an amazing time. And it was like so impactful, and students just, as you can see Izzy over here, just like, yeah, take me back. So we had an amazing time, and it was like we were going to do this every single year. So this year, we're doing the same thing, all right? For our 5th grade going into 6th grade, we're going to Knott Creek Falls. We're going to have some of the same fields, some of the same games, some just the worship, and we just want to love on those incoming 6th graders as we welcome them into student ministry. And we're going to end that wonderful weekend with just a trip to Schlitterbahn, like we did this past year, in which we realized the students loved. All right, they loved it. And so it was a fun time as we just loved on those 6th graders individually, as we get to talk one-on-one and just kind of just walk with them as they going through student ministry. So it was a real great time, and we cannot wait to go back.
What about everybody else? What are they doing for camp?
All right, so everybody else, that's a good question. As you can turn your page, we'll be traveling, all right? And what I mean by that is we'll be taking a road trip north, all right? Instead of south, we're going north. See how we did it here? And so we're going to Kids Across America, all right, short for, or long for KAA. And it's in Golden, Missouri, which is right off of Table Rock Lake. And I can tell you all about it, but we're actually going to show you a video of a camper's first experience and how she felt camp was to her. So as you can see, it's a camp it's not boring. It's a camp that's extremely hype, a camp that is completely different than anything we went to. But as Ryan mentioned, as we go into this whole community and unity and being different and stepping out, what better way to take our students to a camp where everyone is from different backgrounds. Everyone is different, and how can they still find a common denominator, and that's Jesus. And it's awesome to have one of my students say, "I never thought I would have a friend, all right, who lived in New York. I never thought I would have a friend who lived in some of the roughest parts of Detroit." And so they will have an exciting time. Trust me, they will be worn out each day. But Jesus is incorporated in every single thing they do, and it is a fun time. Yes, sir.
Middle school kids, high school kids, will they be together the whole time like they were this year?
No, they would not. So the model Kids Across America uses is they have 3 camps, one for the real young age, 9 through 11. The rest is the middle, which is for middle school, and the third K3, which is for high school. And they're all together, but we'll drop off our middle school kids and our leaders who stand with the middle school, and we'll take a short bus trip, like 30 seconds down the road to Kids Across America 3, where it's all the high school. So they do that purposely because what middle school and how they engage, it's a lot different than how a senior will engage. And so you don't want to do the same activities you're doing with the middle school with a senior or a junior. Vice versa. They might go extremely deep and hit some topics and some issues with high school. The middle school just is not there yet. And so they want to make sure that it's catered, all right, to each grade, each age specific with that.
Another great spot to bring a friend. If you have ever heard of Camp Kanakuk, Camp Kanakuk is probably the premier Christian camp in the nation. It normally is $1,500 to $2,500 a week for the experience that you can have for $400. And the way that works is Kanakuk is a private camp where kids go individually, and they're paying that much, but a portion of what they're paying goes to help offset for groups like ours that qualify, and they have a sister camp called KAA on the same lake on the other side that you get that $1,500 to $2,500 experience for $400. Counselors are provided they have tons of college counselors, and people who are there who are working with your students. So a great opportunity. We'll be taking coach buses up and filling that out and looking forward to doing that trip. The next page is Costa Rica. As a church, one of the ways that we measure if we're on mission, we talk about that you should be going. You should be going locally, and you should be going globally. And so at some point in your high school career, you should go on a global go. You should go on a global mission trip. This is for students who are currently in 8th grade or older to go on this trip, and we are going to Costa Rica for 9 days. I have the privilege of serving on the board of a mission in Costa Rica. I have been working with this group for over 12 years. Have taken over 1,000 students down there. It's an incredible trip, opportunity to see a different way that the world lives. Just some heartbreaking places that your students will get to go in and work. Was down there last month, actually, and down there with a group. And while we were there in one of the precarios, which is one of the places that's literally made out of scavenged sheet metal, we had done a feeding. We run several feeding programs. And a lady who was with us said to one of the moms about her child who was about 2 years old, "Your child is really cute." And the mom responded by saying to her, "Do you want him?" And she sort of thought, well, she's just joking. But as we started walking the gravel road through the Precario, this mom followed us carrying the child, asking the lady who was with us if she would take the child, because she knew that if that could happen, that her son would have a better life. Our students will get a chance to see the way a whole nother part of the world lives and experiences things. And they'll also get a chance to work really hard. We work really hard while we're there, but they also get a chance to play really hard. They'll get a day to do some whitewater rafting, level 4 rapids, have a good time with that. They'll get a chance to go to the beach for a day or two and chase monkeys and be chased by monkeys. Monkeys will chase you, have learned that. They will steal your purse, learned that, had that happen to a girl. We were riding bikes through the jungle on a trail, and a monkey came down and stole her purse out of the little basket on the front and went running off into the jungle. And we were chasing literally through the jungle, a bunch of suburban white kids chasing this monkey, throwing rocks at it, trying to get the purse back. We did get the purse back, but an incredible trip. And then we're doing something special. Who here is a senior currently? So this applies just to you. Everybody else, you have to listen and wait. If you are currently a senior, you have the opportunity on this trip to do an extended trip. And what that means is that we're going to come back to the airport and we're going to put everybody else on the plane back to San Antonio. And then you're going to stay with me in country for another 3 or 4 days, and we're going to go to a different part of the country that you haven't seen. Right now we're planning to go to an area called La Fortuna or Arenal, which is an active volcano. At night you can see the lava coming down from the top of it. There's all these natural hot springs at the place we'll be staying, and we'll be hanging out there and doing some other activities. And what we do is we just enjoy fellowship and celebrating this milestone that you're having in life of graduating high school. And then at dinner, we do these 2 or 3 hour dinners where every night we sit around and we talk about helping you prepare for the next steps of life. And we have these really long dinner conversations. Pricing on this is one of the few things in here that's not firm yet. And the reason for that is we are so far ahead on our scheduling that some of the airlines have not released their pricing yet. Here's what we can tell you. We're probably looking at a base cost of around $1,700 approximately for the 9-day portion of the trip. The extended portion will normally run about $300 to $350. Once we're in country, it's very cheap for us to do the other portion of the trip, and we work really hard to keep that as cheap as possible. And so we will help you with fundraising. November 12th, there is an informational meeting. If you are at all interested, even remotely in going, be at that meeting on November 12th. We'll give you all the details. We'll tell you what the pricing is going to be. We'll tell you when you need to have your passport to us. We'll tell you everything that you need to know, and we will work with you then in how you can do fundraising. But one other thing about this trip that you can go ahead and do even before then is you do need to fill out an application to go on the trip. And so those applications are available on the table back here. So if you're interested in going on that trip, you can go ahead and fill that out and get that back to us. We will go through these, and basically, if you can answer these questions, you're probably good to go. But we want to make sure that the people who are going are believers in Jesus Christ. It's really hard to share Jesus with the world if you don't know Jesus yourself. And so we do an application for that, and those applications are available over there. Tremaine, Ryan, where do you need help, and where can people come along beside you and serve?
Yeah, best way to serve, especially as parents, it's just, I know sometimes you're like, I don't want to be with my students because they might think it's, awkward for me to be. That's false. The best way to serve is that we need people just to be with students while we have some of these events and while we do some of these things on Wednesdays and Sunday mornings, just to be with students, engage with students, and just live life with them. That's the biggest area of need. We can go specific, and I would love to talk to you about that if you want to, but my biggest thing, my main thing here is for us just to have parents to just be serving and just be here and be present with their students as they are going through, just activities and things like that. And so it's very
Interested in
simple.
serving? Sign up over there, Ryan.
Yeah, if you're called to serve in student ministry, we want you to do that. You've heard a little bit of our heart. I'd love to sit down with you and tell you even more my heart for student ministry. Where I'm at, basically, is I get to have a cool conversation with a student recently, actually, where their mom was actually coming in to serve, and they were like, oh, mom's coming in. And I got to tell them, I said, hey, some of these kids don't have a mom like your mom, and they need her. And we just have that. We've got some families, we're all broken people, and we've got some families who just go, man, my kid really just needs some solid adults in their life. So if that's you and you feel that calling, and you feel like God's placed on your life, we want to just be an opportunity for you to do that. We're all about pursuing your calling here. So there's some kids who just need, literally just need mom and dad on a Sunday morning to be in the room and just love on them, to encourage them. So don't worry about the whole, am I qualified to work with students for that? If you feel God tugging in your heart to get involved and plugged in, we want you to get involved and plugged in. We're going to find the right spot for you. We're going to find where it is. And Trey's right. You're just loving on kids. It's not super simple and easy. We know how complicated and hard it can be, but we know that if that's what you're feeling God's calling you to do, that he's going to make a way for that. And we just want you to be who you are and answer God's calling.
Awesome. If you want to get in touch with either of these guys or with me, their contact information is back here. If you have complaints about anything, ryan.brown@gracepoint.org. Ryan, R-Y-A-N, Brown@gracepoint.org.
He's only saying that because he knows I'm the only one of us out of the three that actively checks email. And I will forward it to Josh. Don't worry.
Also, you were in your booklet there. You have a calendar that's been printed up for you with the major things on it. Just sort of a one sheet, has the fall on one side and the spring and summer on the other side that you can put on your refrigerator or someplace. So we wanted to make that readily available to you as well. What we want to do now, we've got about 5 or 10 minutes, and we want to open up for questions. And please, if you have a question on anything, please ask, because it will help us improve this in years to come as we're going forward. It also helps us know things that we may have forgotten. We've covered a lot of information and helps us probably answer questions that you have for someone else as well. So questions. Yes, ma'am.
He doesn't like having two options to eat? Oh, yeah.
That's a very good question.
I believe that's it. We try and be as consistent as we can with that. More than likely, we're going to try and do snacks or something like that at West Campus Medical Center. What are y'all up to?
Yeah, we'll do a meal probably once a month. Usually it's the beginning of the month until we start finding more people to donate and just to give us food. But for that first month, for that first week of the month, yes, yeah, we always communicate that, hey, come a little early, next week because we're
And we'll make sure it goes in the weekly email.
We'll put that on the Tuesday email.
We'll put that on the
Yeah.
Tuesday email.
Yeah, boom.
We'll add that.
Yeah.
Sure.
He's really excited and searched for his Bible on Sunday
highly encourage him, if he enjoys it, to bring it. I always prefer if they have a paper Bible in front of them. It's our preference, but we realize part of that gap is there are a lot of people who do it with technology too. But really encourage him just to continue doing it. He's probably not alone. There's
Yeah.
probably others that are like that too. Absolutely.
We're actively making an effort to
Yeah.
And I-
encourage paper Bibles and just speak to it. So we're constantly using it, but we're trying to push them that way, those who aren't there.
Other questions? Yes.
Yes, we'll start the cafe here on Wednesday nights. It'll be real small as we continue to build, but yes, we'll have that available for sure.
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
No, Trey is new guy on
No.
staff, gets to wear the tights.
Can't do
yeah.
it. Nope,
He
can't do that.
Josh is gonna dress as Santa.
Josh is out of town.
We're gonna be out of town for a lot of events. Yes, ma'am.
About meals, about serving food. Will there be food served every week? And the answer is
Here on
the
Wednesday
answer
nights.
is no. At Medical, the first Wednesday of the month, there will be food served, and the cafe will be open with
Yes.
little snacks that they can purchase. The other Wednesdays of the month,
Wednesday does, yeah.
they do some snacks and stuff at West.
Yes.
Good question.
We can work with you. The meals are free. For
Events.
events, if you have more than one child, just let us know. We'll work with you. As part of that, don't say no to your child because of finances. Come talk to us. We'll see if we can work with you.
Yes.
Regular Sunday school will take place that Sunday morning. Yeah, we will continue going forward. If you may not have noticed, this began to change this year as we went through the summer, is that even when we're away doing things, there will be Wednesday night programming and Sunday morning programming happening here. So just because we go to camp, we don't cancel Wednesday nights. We understand there are some people who aren't here, so we have someone who covers that for us. So it's constantly going. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. That's what we want it to be, and we try to mix up the times because we understand that it's different for different working parents. So sometimes it's an all-day thing, sometimes it's in the morning, sometimes it's in the afternoon or evening. But that's done intentionally, trying to make sure we can make it available to as many different kids as possible to be part of it. Other questions? These are all easy questions. Y'all don't have any hard questions?
Why?
Well,
Don't ask
no.
that. Come on.
I like it when there's no hard questions.
Boom.
You want to meet us in Costa Rica?
Yeah,
be
shop off Costa Rica. And it's always hard to find weeks that work. Just get on it. Nothing's locked in yet.
Got a question? Yes.
Yes, we will take adult volunteers on a lot of different things. There's a lot of different places, retreats and things of that nature. If we can get adult volunteers, it definitely helps us. Especially during the school year events. In the summer, when we have an intern team, we can cut down on the number that we need. And that's part of the reason we do an intern team, is because we know, sometimes for something that's Monday through Thursday, adults are having to take vacation, right? And so we are blown away when people do that. But part of the reason we do an intern team is it helps cut down on that. But many of these things, we absolutely can use volunteers to go along and be leaders.
Sir.
Carefully. Yes, so we have 2 charter buses reserved. We're reserving 100 spots. We need to get at least 100 people to go. If we go a little bit over that, we're good. There's also a chance that if we start getting, we're going to be having conversations anyhow, that Youth for Christ may send some people with us, and we may even do a 3rd bus. And Youth for Christ may join us in doing that for their summer camp. We're going to be really working to partner with some other ministries that are heavily involved at Rudder and Marshall and O'Connor and Brandeis this year. If your child's at another school and there's an active ministry there, please let us know. But we're working really hard to partner with them. Yes, ma'am. Yes, so fundraising is an interesting question. Thank you for asking, because that's one of the hard questions that get asked. What a lot of people don't realize is that fundraising has some interesting implications for churches that a lot of churches either aren't aware of or ignore. And that is, if you do individual fundraising for a student for something like this, then it's considered quid pro quo by IRS, and we have to treat them as a 1099 employee. So if we do a car wash and they're getting proceeds for doing the car wash, then we are technically supposed to 1099 them. So what we're doing is trying to increase our big fundraising so that we have more scholarship funds available, and so we can work to downplay these costs. We will give them ideas and suggestions like we're doing for Costa Rica. Here are some things you can go do and that we'll give you that you can go do, but doing it in the other realm can get problems. Most churches don't run into a problem because no one cares, because they're pretty small, and we're one of those churches that's in that in-between size. But I have been at a church that had the IRS come down on them about doing stuff like that. We used to do what we called IMA accounts, individual ministry accounts, and you served and you did all this stuff, and then you got money put in your account for events and for trips. And we got cracked down on for that. 2 things I will tell you. If your student serves and volunteers and helps, then when you fill out a application for scholarships, we can take that into consideration in approving your scholarship. So we can't do it quid pro quo, but if you come to us and say, hey, my kid's going to really volunteer, and by the way, I'm going to fill out a scholarship application for such and such, those 2 are corollary, but they can't be quid pro quo. The other thing that we're going to start doing this year with some of the one church things that we'll probably do at Turkey Bowl is some of the prizes we're going to start giving are going to be scholarship packages. So here's $100 you to use as you want to off student events. Here's $200 for you to use off student events. So we're going to start making those some of the prizes that can be used throughout the year. That helps parents and helps students. If they're doing it themselves directly, then yes, and we can work with you on that. Yes, on an entire church-approved day, and it's defraying the cost for the overall group. Now, that's the other thing. If everybody worked, and that's how our mission trips get around this, by the way. Everyone on the mission team works on the fundraiser, and it lowers the cost per person. So it's not considered quid pro quo. It's just the way the law works. But when you do it and it's separated for some people and not for other people is where you get into a hairy situation. Yes. Yes. Graduates can go to KAA. We know that there's a bunch of graduates that aren't planning to go to camp because they're planning to go to Costa Rica and do the extended trip. That's fine. Again, we don't expect you to go on everything. We're okay with that. Yes, ma'am. What is the intern program? That is a great question. Callan and Julie, come here.
Come on.
I told you not to come, Catelyn.
Y'all grab a stool. This is totally impromptu, by the way, so wherever this goes from here. Julie, what is the biggest thing you learned this summer?
Man, a lot. So one thing was my favorite thing about the intern program was just the behind the scenes of what it takes to do ministry. And but like at the same time, every morning we would start off with just time of prayer and worshiping, and that was just one thing of like just even in my personal life. Just, I mean, now I just want to start off every morning, like continue, like even before homework and everything, like, it just showed me that everything that we do is just, like, involves Jesus, like, no matter, like, we're pumping gas or, like, anything, like, driving or anything, it just involves Jesus. And so, but one thing we got really good at was planning trips, and so that was awesome, just planning and organizing and learning just small details of what it takes to make a big event happen. And so just we got really good at doing little things for that and knowing all the little details. So, yeah.
Callan, what'd you learn?
Exactly what Julie said. No, it was, I learned how to grow as an individual, and I also learned what community is and what a church is, and just how the backbone and how we are the backbone, and just how ministry works. And it was just really exciting just to see and to grow and to meet the kids and to just be a part of something bigger than
What
myself.
surprised you the most? What happened this summer, either something that happened or something you learned that coming into the summer you had no idea of?
Everything.
Here's my favorite Callan story, by the way. So we pay our intern team.
Oh,
all right?
wrong story.
No, I'm not telling that story. We pay our intern team. And so Callan gets her first paycheck, and she goes, "Oh, we get paid for this?"
I know.
Like, darn, we could have had her for free labor. She was willing to do it without knowing she was going to get paid. Anything stand out that surprised you?
Well, I think one of my favorite things was Sunday nights, going from 12 kids, and the last Sunday we had 62, and that was just really exciting, and that was just really awesome just to see how we grew.
One of mine was, what I loved was they gave us ownership, and like we were able to make decisions and stand up, and where it was just really awesome to be handed something and be like, you're in charge of the budget, you're in charge of this decision, you're in charge of what game is going to happen, like every little detail. And I thought that was really cool because a lot of times like you're just kind of there and you're kind of the sidekick, but we were able to stand up and say, hey, this is what I think, and it was just really awesome to take ownership in that and be involved in that, especially at like my home church, and so that felt really cool.
And to answer your question even a little bit more from our perspective, what's the intern program? It is a guided mentorship. It is probably the thing in the school year or in the year that I personally am the most hands-on with. It is all about taking college students and pouring into them to teach them a good work ethic. They work very hard. It's about letting them see what happens in ministry, what really takes place, what it takes to do things. It's about empowering them. We do empower them to make decisions under the watchful eye of someone mentoring them, but we put them in charge of a lot of things. We give them responsibility. And we do that for a few reasons. Number one, we want people who are interested in ministry to get to experience ministry before they decide to major in ministry. I've been doing the intern program the way we did it this summer. I've been doing it for 10 years plus. And I've had students who came in saying, I want to do ministry. And by the end of the summer, they went, ministry is not for me. You know what? I count that a huge success. I've also had students come in who had no clue that they were called to ministry. And by serving by the end of the summer, realized that God was calling them to full-time ministry. And that is an amazingly powerful thing. And so what I tell them all at the beginning of the summer is, regardless of what happens, at the end of the summer, here's what I'm going to give you. So you've seen what we get from them, right? Let me tell you what I want to give them. Number one, you're going to be able to put us on your resume, and it's going to be different than most internships, because you're going to be able to say, whoever's in charge of Costa Rica next year will be able to say, I was in charge of a $75,000 budget trip to take so many people out of the country. Like, they're in charge of it as a college student. We're going to empower them so that they have something to put on their resume. You're going to have that. Number two, you're going to get to explore if God's calling you into ministry or not and be better prepared for that. And number three, even if the answer is no, you're going to go and be a volunteer and a lay leader, and you're going to be 30 and 40 years old, and you're going to have kids, and someone's going to be complaining because something happened on a trip, and they have no clue what it takes to make that trip happen, and you're going to be the one that gets to speak into it and say, let me tell you what goes into that, because I experienced this 20 years ago. So we're going to give them a view of how the church works. We're going to let them explore ministry, and we're going to give them something solid to put on their resume. And it's just it's an amazing experience. Our goal is to do 4 interns next year that will work for 3 months with us. And the amazing part, too, is they're not paid to be here tonight, and yet they're still volunteering and they're still here. It gets in your blood, doesn't it?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. It gets in your blood. So just brought them up just to answer a few questions for you.
And just one other thing is like, just us interns as Callan's like, I'm leaving. I'm out. It's just like us as interns as a whole, like that friendship that we spent 3 months straight with each other every day, long weekends sleeping on bunk beds and stuff like that during camp and being with kids. And we get to know each other really well, but like it's a lifetime friendship that you made. And it's really awesome just to have that as being an intern. So. Yeah.
So we're out constantly looking, watching people as we move forward in the intern program. So that's a little bit about it. Guys, we're going to let you go. We want to honor your time. Y'all stayed a little bit over. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to come forward. Can I pray for us real quick as we head out? Father God, just ask that you would take everything that's in this booklet. We've done so much planning and so much working, but God, the best laid plans of man are nothing unless your Holy Spirit comes and breathes life into them. So Holy Spirit, come. Go ahead of us. You know who needs to be on what events. You know people who need to hear the gospel. Begin to move right now to make it so, to make it happen, to prepare hearts, to come into an amazing contact with you, and to enter into a lifelong relationship of the most uncommon kind because they walk their life with you. We love you, Jesus. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.